It's Dean the General from Three of a Kind. Haven't done a serious list in a while. Today is Billy Joel selected discography until 2011. First, a brief summary of his musical career. He was in the Hassles during the 60s, although they did not record anything important. In 1970, there was an album called Attila that he recorded with a drummer. Pretty interesting stuff. The debut solo album, Cold Spring Harbor, is disappointing, although certainly has its share of moments. Most people familiar with Joel would recognize Piano Man as his first real solo album. About half of it is great, the rest is filler. Streetlife Serenade was a definite improvement. Although unlike the previous album, there are no radio standards here whatsoever. A couple of years later, in 1976, Turnstiles was a relative commercial failure, although featured two standards. The best known is New York State of Mind. There are some very listenable deep tracks as well. The Rising Superstar's first really amazing album is called The Stranger, out in 1977. It features 4 classic hit singles, along with scenes from an Italian restaurant. Most diehard fans would consider this his signature tune. 1 year later, 52nd Street topped the charts in America. Despite not being as impressive overall, the album still yielded 3 singles. The best known is My Life, although perhaps Honesty is the real classic here. In early 1980, Glass Houses was another smash hit, featuring his very first #1 single, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. Other highlights include You May Be Right and Don't Ask Me Why, plus a very strong second half. Following this milestone in his career, things started going downhill. Songs in the Attic is the only live album we're going to look at today. It contains the definitive version of She's Got Away, along with some other songs that only real fans would know from the studio albums. More than 2 years after his second #1 album, The Nylon Curtain was a relative disappointment, although there are still some really great songs here, including the 2 hits, Pressure and especially Allentown. An Innocent Man followed approximately 1 year later, his worst since the debut. It still managed to yield hit singles. Everything here was influenced by Joel's obsession with the 60s. Greatest Hits Volume 1 and 2 was released in 1985, featuring 2 unimportant new songs. However, You're Only Human was a pretty big single for him. The Bridge followed 1 year later, likely even worse than An Innocent Man. Following another live album, Stormfront was a pretty big comeback for him in 1989. Another chart topper with a really big single called We Didn't Start the Fire. Both hit #1 in America. River of Dreams is his last real studio album, out in 1993. Quite possibly his worst ever, including the debut. Greatest Hits Volume 3 continued where the first compilation left off, plus including some interesting covers that were brand new in his catalog. Fantasies and Delusion is a classical piano album that Joel does not actually play on. Some of the pieces here are definitely worth a listen. Our last album for today is Essential Billy Joel. Definitely a worthy purchase if you are a newcomer to his work. The Piano Man has also released various compilations and at least 1 other live album. He remains a legend, peaking during the years when disco ruled America. Check out Three of a Kind for other tier lists and other videos. Comment, subscribe, like. Once again, thanks for putting up with such a long video.